don't make me feel too much like a dinosaur, but I remember when we used film in the cameras.
Yeah.
So, so
So
Jonathan, where are you?
Hi,
Where
Jonatan.
are you?
I'm in Sweden.
Oh, hello to
Sweden! We love
Sweden.
Sweden.
We're like Eurovision content.
Yeah.
Sweden,
The
8
best.
points.
Yeah,
A
so
lot of great crime TV shows come out of Sweden.
Yes, that's so
there
true.
is. So
Right.
if you do get like a season 2 or something, maybe you should do like the Nordic version of this, perhaps.
Yeah, I don't know. Did Sweden have an extradition treaty with England then? I'm not sure.
I think we have now, but there probably were some time when we didn't.
Yeah.
Right.
So I received the episodes yesterday, so I've only managed to squeeze in half of the episodes.
Great.
But I feel like I know where the story is going, and I definitely feel the tone of the show.
Brilliant.
First of all, just going to Tenerife. To shoot this for a couple of months, I think that is something that would have had me sold on the project. So how did you guys like end up on this show, and what were like your reasons for accepting the part, except for going to Tenerife?
Well, I got to say, Jonathan, that you really nailed it when you mentioned the location of Tenerife, because it was absolutely spectacular. We were there for like 5 months.
Oh, yeah.
It was a long time, and it was, believe me, it was worth it.
Yes.
It was absolutely gorgeous.
Stunning.
And the people and the food and the language and everything was, and the scenery is just an incredible place to be. But I think for both of us anyway, it was obviously it was the characters. It was the story and the way that Nick Love wove these characters into the story and sort of came up with it, basing it sort of loosely on people in his own life and his own childhood and growing up in South London. And the script just felt completely original, but completely natural and real. And yeah, so
totally. I completely agree with Martha. And I feel like so many people will watch the show and totally resonate with it, and it's so culturally vivid as well in so many different ways. And everybody loves the 80s as well.
Yeah.
So like, having a project set in the 80s is my favorite time. We love a mullet, we love a shoulder pad, we love all of this. But it's also just the colorfulness, not only of the way it looks, but as Martha said, the characters, the family, the story, it really just comes to life from the first scene. I feel like, reading the script, it just jumped off the page. It's just a no-brainer. And then encapsulating all of that with Nick Love, Jamie Donahue is our first director, and Chaz Bain, our first DOP, and this phenomenal cast and crew, and then being out in Tenerife just as the added bonus.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my goodness. It honestly is a dream job.
it was, yeah.
We just adore each other, which is just, again.
Well, I can tell watching that it seemed like you guys had a good time for sure. So Martha, you were actually like playing you were on Goonies in the 80s. So like you were already working in this business back then, and how does it compare to work as an actress now compared to back then? I guess the business have changed a lot during these years. Is it something that you like feel when you step onto
definitely. I mean, don't make me feel too much like a dinosaur, but I remember when we used film in the cameras.
Yeah.
So so of course technically it's changed enormously. It's a completely different setup now. Directors didn't really have monitors when I started, and if they did have monitors, they were tiny and not very good. And so directors had to actually watch you act in person. But I think a lot of things have changed. But a lot of things are obviously the same. That the elements of storytelling have stayed the same. What makes something fun and interesting to watch has stayed the same. Seeing characters grow and change, as Eliza was saying earlier, seeing the dynamics between characters changing. And I think that's one of the, obviously there's way more television now than there was when I was a kid. There's like 1,000 different streaming services, you know what I mean? So it gives it, you've got space to breathe, room to breathe in a story, to take your time to see things develop and how they, sort of grow and warp and shift and move. And it's a fascinating and incredible process, particularly on this show, because
it's a ride.
It's a ride, baby.
It is. And it's also like the use of the music and like the soundtracks, it all just comes together. It's like a dark story, but it's fun watching it somehow, if that makes sense.
And as you said, Jonatan, it's like a love note to the 80s, as we all say, and it's like an ode to 80s and British 80s time, and it's so compelling. And as you say, it is dark, it is raw, and there are themes, that are within the show that are quite, shocking at times. But it's the way the family copes with them, and it's they see a lot of humor in what goes on, which is amazing. And even just the way they speak to one another, it's like they have their own language, they have their own, like tribe, if you like, and even though the family gets tested a lot, they're still stuck together like glue. They've got some of the strongest bonds I've ever seen in a family, considering what they're always going through, and the chaos that follows them wherever they go as well. And they try to completely re-identify themselves in the Costa del Sol, create a whole new, brand for themselves, if you like. But they can never escape who they are.
Yeah, who they are.
Exactly. So thanks a lot for your time, and best of luck with the premiere. I'm sure it will go great.
Thank you so much. Take care, Sweden. Love you. Love you, Sweden. Bye.